Have you ever had one of those days where you knew exactly what you needed to do, but you just didn't feel like it? Maybe it was studying for a test, working out, waking up early, or even something simple like cleaning your room. And instead of doing it, you said, "I'll do it later," or "I'm just not in the mood." That was me. Every single day. And at first, I thought I just had a motivation problem. I thought I needed to watch more hustle videos, find better routines, or maybe just wait for inspiration. But here's what actually changed my life. I realized I was letting my feelings decide my future. That one shift, that one uncomfortable truth, it made me unstoppable. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't just flip a switch and suddenly become a machine. It was painful, it was messy, it was real. And in this video, I want to walk you through every step of that journey. From letting my emotions sabotage my life to finally building the kind of mindset that made discipline effortless. So if you feel stuck, unmotivated, or overwhelmed by your own moods, this might be the exact wake-up call you need. Let's go deep. Because the truth I'm about to share, it's going to challenge you and maybe change you. The real problem wasn't motivation. It was my mood. For the longest time, I was obsessed with motivation. I would binge motivational videos on YouTube. You know, the ones with epic music and David Goggins yelling at you. I'd write out ambitious goals, print aesthetic to-do lists, and make these beautiful plans. But no matter how fired up I got, it never lasted more than a few days. Why? Because I was making all my decisions based on how I felt in the moment. If I felt tired, I skipped the workout. If I felt bored, I switched tasks. If I felt unmotivated, I didn't study. If I felt anxious, I avoided the hard stuff. I used to blame myself. I thought I was lazy, weak, incapable, but I wasn't lazy. I was addicted to comfort, and more than that, I was emotionally reactive. My entire schedule was shaped by how I felt in each moment. I let my emotions write the script of my life. And the scary part is, that's exactly what most people do. We plow. Wait until we feel like doing something. We wait until we're in the mood. But here's the truth. If you only act when you're in the mood, you're going to waste years of your life, because moods are temporary. They come and go. They're like the weather. You can't base your life on a storm. So if you're always waiting to feel right, you'll never act consistently enough to grow. You'll always be starting over, stopping, starting, stopping, wondering why you're not getting anywhere. What no one tells you about discipline, we glorify discipline like it's this superpower. But what we never talk about is how it actually looks in real life. Discipline isn't loud. It's not some perfect aesthetic morning routine with matcha and soft jazz. Real discipline is quiet, uncomfortable. It's waking up early when your whole body screams to stay in bed. It's doing the hard task even when you're anxious, even when you're tired, even when you're bored out of your mind. And you know what? It feels awful sometimes. But that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're finally doing it right. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. And the most powerful form of consistency is when you show up even when you don't feel like it. That's where strength is built. Your brain will beg you to take the easy road. It will whisper, "You're too tired. You can do it later." Let's just relax for today. But if you can learn to notice that voice and act anyway, you become dangerous. You become powerful. You become free. Because freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is doing what you must, regardless of how you feel. The uncomfortable truth. Your feelings lie. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Your feelings lie. They're not bad. They're not evil. But they are not reliable. Your feelings are like waves. One moment you're high, the next you're drowning. When you're anxious, your brain says everything is going wrong, but it's not. When you're tired, your brain says you can't go on, but you can. When you're sad, your brain tells you it'll always be this way, but it won't. I'm not saying suppress your feelings. I'm saying stop worshiping them. Stop letting them call the shots. Think about the best athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. You think they only train, perform, or show up when they feel amazing? No, they act regardless. And here's the truth. The less you let your emotions decide your actions, the more peace you actually feel in the long run. Because the emotional roller coaster quiets down when you stop giving it control. You start to lead yourself instead of being led by whatever your emotions want in the moment. That is power. That is peace. That is freedom. The day I snapped out of it, let me tell you about the day everything changed for me. It was a Tuesday morning, 11:07 a.m. I was still in bed scrolling TikTok. I had a long list of things to do. I was behind on school, behind on projects. My room was a disaster. My energy was gone. My brain was foggy, and I just kept telling myself, I'll get up in a few minutes. But then I stopped. I sat up, looked around my messy room, my unshowered face, and I thought, this isn't about being tired. This is about being weak. It wasn't that I needed more rest. I needed to stop listening to the voice in my head that always took the easy way out. So I got up. I cleaned my room. I made a list. I tackled one thing, then another, and something clicked. I don't need to feel like it to change my life. I just need to do it. That was the day I stopped making decisions based on feelings. That was the day I started building my real future. That was the day I met the version of myself I'd been avoiding for years. The disciplined, powerful, clear-minded version of me that didn't let emotions steer the wheel. And that changed everything. I built systems, not vibes. The key to my transformation wasn't just mindset. It was structure. I stopped chasing vibes. I started building systems. I created a morning routine that was simple, repeatable, and non-negotiable. I scheduled my deep work. 90 minutes, no distractions. I meal prepped so I wouldn't make lazy food decisions. I kept my phone out of sight until noon. Was it perfect? No. Did I fall off? Of course. But every time I returned to the system, I got stronger. I wasn't guessing anymore. I wasn't hoping to feel motivated. I had a roadmap. And it worked. Because systems don't rely on how you feel. They remove the option to negotiate. The more structure I added, the more freedom I felt. Why? Because I was no longer at the mercy of my mood. And that is power. Structure protects your future from your feelings. How I became emotionally bulletproof. Now when people ask me how I stay consistent, I tell them the truth. I don't. I have bad days. I have lazy mornings. I have moments of doubt. But I no longer give those moments the power to decide what I do next. That's what emotional resilience is. It's not pretending you feel amazing all the time. It's acting with integrity, regardless of how you feel. That shift has changed everything. I stopped overthinking. I stopped waiting for the perfect vibe. I stopped tying my identity to my emotions. Now I act first. I feel later. And ironically, that's made me feel better than ever. Because every time I do the hard thing, I build trust with myself. That trust compounds. It builds confidence. And that confidence, it turns into momentum. That's how you become unstoppable. You can be unstoppable too, but only if you accept this. You might be waiting to feel ready. You might be waiting for motivation. You might be waiting for some magical moment where everything feels easy. But let me be brutally honest with you. That moment will never come. There is no perfect moment. There is no ideal mood. There is only now. And the choice is simple. Will you let your feelings control your life? Or will you take control back? Because the truth that changed my life, the uncomfortable, painful, beautiful truth, is this. Discipline is doing what matters even when it sucks. You want to be great? Do the work. You want to feel proud? Do the work. You want to change your life? Do the work. Not because it feels good, but because it's who you are becoming. That's what made me unstoppable, and it can do the same for you. Let's build the version of you that doesn't get pushed around by feelings. Let's build the version of you that shows up no matter what. Let's build the version of you that's free. Let's build someone unstoppable,